He's a producer, MC, video director, a great writer, but more importantly, a model of perseverance, I think. Won't you please welcome Ka.
My name's Ka, you know what I'm saying? I've been rhyming for over 20-some years, you know what I mean? I've been rhyming a long time. I'm from Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? Ocean Hill, Brownsville, that's where I was born and raised. I feel like I've disappointed my moms in certain times in my life by decisions that I made. So now I don't want to do that no more. I'm a grown up now, you know what I'm saying? I want her to be proud of me at the end of all, you know what I'm saying? I want to be proud of me at the end of all. Like,
had an untraditional path to fame. His day job was as a firefighter with the FDNY and served as a first responder on 9/11. Captain Ryan served the FDNY and the people of the city of New York with distinction for 20 years.
Kaseem Ka Ryan wasn't just an underground rapper. He was a respected FDNY captain, a 9/11 first responder, and a man shaped by Brownsville's hardest years.
I was dealing with real issues, man issues as a kid, you know, like that I know if I had a seed, I wouldn't want my seed to experience like that, you know. So I always think about my loss and, you know, think about the that molded me and, you know.
His early years were rough. He spent time in the street economy, dealing drugs and carrying weapons, a period he later described as uncivilized and a savage.
You know, I was a kid in the 70s. Through the 80s, I was a teenager, you know. So, you know, I saw in the 70s was dope, and, you know, they were shooting up with the methadone clinics and the dope fiends. And then I saw the 80s, you know, they were smoking wolves and bones, and then the crack just exploded in the neighborhood. And some people think they was winning because they was hustling, but they was, you know, the hood was, you know what I'm saying? So I saw all of that. I saw the death of the crack wars and, you know, just the rat race.
But Ka walked away from that path. He joined the FDNY in 1999, rebuilt his life through service, and quietly developed one of hip-hop's most thoughtful underground catalogs, until a 2016 expose attempted to derail everything he had built. Let's get into it. Born on August 11, 1972, in Brownsville, Brooklyn, Kaseem Ryan came into a world defined by hardship, instability, and constant tension. Brownsville was one of New York's most deprived neighborhoods, shaped by cycles of poverty and violence. Growing up in this environment meant learning early how to move carefully, protect oneself, and recognize danger long before it arrived. These lessons became woven into his character and later into the introspective style that would distinguish him as an artist.
Some people think they was winning because they was hustling, but they was, you know, the hood was up, you know what I'm saying? So I saw all of that. I saw the death of the crack wars and, you know, just the rat race, just, you know, we lost a lot, man.
From a young age, Kaseem was noticeably reflective. While many of the kids around him were drawn to the noise and excitement of the streets, he often preferred quiet spaces where he could think. He was the type of child who observed more than he spoke, taking in the world through a cautious, analytical lens. Writing became an early outlet, helping him create order in a place where very little felt predictable. In a neighborhood where showing too much emotion could be interpreted as weakness, the privacy of a notebook gave him a safe way to express what he kept hidden from others. Hip-hop entered his life naturally, not through industry glamour, but through the voices he heard on street corners, in parks, and at gatherings. The music mirrored the reality around him: fear, survival, loss, and resilience. He admired lyricists who could articulate complex feelings using simple, precise language. Kaseem didn't yet identify as an artist, but he felt drawn to the discipline and clarity that great songwriting required. It matched the internal order he was always trying to build for himself. As he moved through his teenage years, Brownsville's harsher realities became unavoidable. Friends were lost to violence, incarceration, or the pull of fast but dangerous money. These experiences did not harden him outwardly. Instead, they deepened his introspection. He became more aware of the fragility of life and the importance of making deliberate choices. His quiet demeanor wasn't shyness. It was a survival strategy shaped by everything he witnessed around him. Kaseem developed a strong personal code during this period, built on patience, restraint, and self-control. Unlike many who tried to escape through bravado or recklessness, he sought escape through discipline. He understood that anger, fear, and impulse could destroy someone long before the streets did. This mindset would later become essential in both his creative journey and his professional life.
When I say I'm from Brownsville, I wear that shit as a badge of honor. Like, I'm from the Ville and I survived the Ville. And you can't ever take that from me.
Above all, Kasim grew up believing that improvement had to come from within. He didn't chase attention or validation. He chased mastery, stability, and a sense of self he could rely on. Those early years in Brownsville didn't break him, they sharpened him, laying the foundation for the measured, philosophical voice he would eventually bring to hip-hop and the disciplined professionalism that would define the rest of his life. After leaving his early rap ambitions behind, Ka fully entered the streets of Brownsville. In his late teens and early 20s, he became involved in drug dealing and handling weapons, a period he later described as being uncivilized and a savage. These years were shaped by economic necessity rather than choice. Opportunities were scarce, and he saw few alternatives for survival. The streets offered immediate means to support himself and his family, even if it came at a heavy personal cost. Ka approached this life with a clear awareness of its moral weight. His lyrics reflect the tension he felt between survival and conscience. In the song 30 Keys, he recalls the conflict. I don't want to do it, gotta do it. Used to feel bad, but then in short time was like, F your family, someone got rich off mine. Every action carried consequence, and he understood that survival often required compromise. He never romanticized this period. The violence and uncertainty of daily life were constant, and he witnessed firsthand the devastating effects on friends and neighbors. K's music became a tool to document these realities, not to glorify them. In Honor Killed the Samurai, the track Conflicted portrays the push and pull between his upbringing and the harsh environment around him. Mommy told me be a good boy, need you alive, please survive, you my hood joy. Pops told me, stay strapped son, you need the shotty, be a body, or catch one. These lines capture the constant negotiation between duty, fear, and survival.
Most of my music is inspired because of a lot of things that I really wish I didn't have to deal with. I wish I'd never been to a funeral in my life. I wish I didn't. There was a year I went to 50 funerals.
Ka also emphasized the human side of the people around him. Those labeled as criminals were often family, friends, and neighbors trying to survive. In his view, circumstance dictated behavior more than character. He called them cousins, aunts, pops, moms, rather than the negative labels society imposed. Years in this environment took their toll. Violence was pervasive, and friends disappeared into prisons or graves. The street offered no real escape, only temporary solutions. Ka reached a point of exhaustion and deep regret. Reflecting later, he admitted, I'm not really proud of that. I wish I would have just stayed in school.
Speaking about friends that I lost, or I'm speaking about times that just, that I've had to deal with, and I'm glad that they come out where they're sonically pleasing, you know what I'm saying? Because it's music, but it's life as well.
By 1999, at age 27, Ka decided to leave this life behind. He stepped away from both the streets and his stalled rap career, seeking structure and a chance to rebuild. Enlisting in the New York Fire Department offered discipline, purpose, and stability. The choices he had made in Brownsville shaped him, instilling resilience, awareness, and a sense of responsibility. These experiences would later inform both his art and the life he would lead outside the neighborhood's grip. In 1999, Ka entered the New York Fire Department, stepping into a world that demanded discipline, focus, and teamwork. The structure of the FDNY provided stability and a sense of purpose he had not experienced in the streets or as a young writer. Daily life in the firehouse required vigilance, communication, and endurance, sharpening his ability to function under pressure. The job exposed him to danger and loss, and during the September 11, 2001 attacks, he was among the first responders at the World Trade Center, witnessing devastation that would leave lasting marks on him. K advanced steadily through the ranks, and by 2009, he was promoted to fire captain at Engine Company 235 in Bedford-Stuyvesant. Over 2 decades, he built a career defined by competence and reliability. The FDNY offered a community, camaraderie, and a framework for growth qualities that contrasted with the isolation he often felt as a writer. He referred to the work plainly as my job, but it instilled habits and discipline that would later support his artistic pursuits.
I've been doing it for 17 years, It's a dangerous job, as we all know.
Years of inhaling smoke contributed to the raspy tone that would become a signature of his voice, linking his professional and creative lives in subtle ways. Even after stepping away from public music, K's creative drive remained constant. Rhymes persisted in his mind, appearing in everyday conversation or quiet moments. Attempts to abandon writing entirely proved futile. He destroyed notebooks and stepped back from recording, convinced that rap had ruined his life, yet the compulsion to create persisted. During this hiatus, he taught himself music production, expanding his skill set and giving him greater control over his work. Over time, shifts became a resource for funding studio sessions, what he referred to as blood money for his art. Encouragement from his wife, Mimi Valdez, who recognized the value of his talent, ultimately spurred him to return to recording. By 2008, Ka compiled material for his debut solo album, Ironworks. Released independently under his label, he pressed 1,000 CDs and distributed them in Brownsville as an expression of gratitude to his community. The album's raw sound, influenced by Mobb Deep and The Lox, carried his precise lyricism and a grounded, introspective tone. Word of the project reached GZA of the Wu-Tang Clan, who invited Ka to collaborate on the track Firehouse for the 2008 album Pro Tools. K's partnership with Rock Marciano began in 2010 with appearances on Markberg and frequent collaborations that emphasized minimalist production and lyrical density. Together, they formed the unofficial group Metal Clergy. An anticipated joint album, Peace Be With You, was announced in 2012 but remains unreleased, attaining near mythical status among fans. These early successes marked a careful resurgence. Ka returned to music on his own terms, blending the discipline of the Firehouse with the precision and depth of his artistry. K's identity as a defining voice in underground hip-hop was solidified through a precise, deliberate approach to music that combined minimalism, lyricism, and conceptual depth. This breakthrough came with his 2012 album, Grief Pedigree, which reflected decades of personal struggle, loss, depression, and pain.
If you listen to the music, you'll be like, yeah, this dude is depressed. But that's what I'm doing. I feel like, I'm pain in the spoken form. Like that's what I'm giving you. I've got 5 albums of pain.
It established him as one of the most disciplined and exacting writers in hip-hop. Departing from the aggressive, sample-heavy style of his earlier work, he embraced a colder, slower, and stripped-down sound. By removing traditional drums on many tracks, he ensured that his voice and intricate wordplay commanded full attention. This choice gave his music a cinematic quality, allowing listeners to fully absorb each metaphor and subtle detail, while his calm, hushed delivery complemented the somber themes of despair, paranoia, and survival. Because Ka valued lyrical density above all, every line carried weight and multiple layers of meaning. Songs like Cold Facts conveyed the realities of street survival, moral compromise, and the consequences of life in Brownsville. Through meticulous phrasing, he translated lived experience into poetic precision, showing that even small details could carry profound significance. This level of control and focus became a hallmark of his work. Building on this foundation, Ka released The Knight's Gambit in 2013, which further expanded his conceptual ambitions. The album used chess, biblical imagery, and extended metaphor to examine themes of loyalty, temptation, and the compromises of survival. Its intelligence and subtlety earned widespread praise, and peers like Earl Sweatshirt declared K the best rapper alive currently.
No one writes like that, bruh. That's what's crazy. No, he can't get no babies because no one. You can't do what this man does. That's why he don't have no babies, because he's one of one.
Tracks such as 30 Pieces of Silver demonstrated his ability to portray betrayal and moral struggle with measured, devastating clarity. Over time, Ka consistently applied historical, literary, and fictional concepts to explore the realities of urban life. For instance, Days with Dr. Yen Lo, 2015, drew inspiration from The Manchurian Candidate, while Honor Killed the Samurai, 2016, used the Bushido Code to reflect street ethics. Later, Orpheus vs. the Sirens, 2018, incorporated Greek mythology, likening mythical sirens to police sirens. Descendants of Cain, 2020, revisited the story of Cain and Abel to examine cycles of violence in Brooklyn. And finally, The Thief, Next to Jesus, 2024, offered a meditation on redemption and grace. Through these projects, Ka established himself not only as a masterful lyricist, but also as a conceptual artist whose quiet, deliberate style reshaped underground hip-hop. By consistently combining restraint, focus, and narrative depth, he created work that demanded attention attention, reflection, and repeated listening, ensuring that his influence would endure far beyond the moment of release. K's life became a delicate balancing act between two worlds that few could imagine coexisting. By day, he served as a dedicated FDNY captain, responding to emergencies and leading his team with discipline and care. By night, he transformed into a meticulous artist, writing, producing, and self-releasing music that reflected the harsh realities of Brownsville and his own inner life. Even as his reputation in hip-hop grew, he continued working full-time, often taking overtime shifts to fund his recording sessions. Marathon 12-hour studio sessions became his routine, and he managed the intense workload by drawing on the same endurance and focus he honed in the firehouse. In 2015, Ka described the duality plainly. "I'm living two lives, man. I'm trying to be who I am in the day, and then trying to feed my soul at night with being the artist that I want to be." His independence defined his approach. He handled production, distribution, and shipping through his own label, Ironworks Records, managing even international orders himself. He created art on his own terms, ensuring that his creative vision remained uncompromised. However, in August 2016, the two worlds collided publicly when the New York Post ran an article titled "Flamethrower, FDNY Captain Moonlights as Anti-Cop Rapper." The exposé singled out lyrics from Grief Pedigree, including lines like "F them cops and SWATs with night vision," framing Ka as a hypocrite, a firefighter saving lives by day while writing allegedly anti-police music by night. The piece misrepresented his work, ignoring the depth of his commentary on trauma, poverty, and survival in New York's inner city. The reaction was immediate. Fellow artists, including LP of Run the Jewels, defended Ka, highlighting the disconnect between the article's narrative and the reality of his life. LP called him an NY treasure and challenged critics to consider the lives Ka had saved before attempting to vilify his lyrics. Meanwhile, Ka chose silence, responding only with a single pointed tweet: "With love comes hate, can't have one without the other." His refusal to engage reflected both his discipline and understanding of the media's intent, allowing him to continue his work without distraction. The controversy illuminated a broader tension. As a black FDNY officer in a historically white-dominated department, K occupied a space where his artistic truth and professional duty intersected uneasily. Yet, rather than shying away, he continued to create music that examined trauma and philosophy, proving that his art was never about politics or provocation, but about the human experience. Through it all, Ka maintained focus, exemplifying the rare ability to live fully in two demanding worlds while keeping integrity intact. K's commitment to self-sufficiency and high-caliber lyricism cemented him as one of the most respected figures in underground hip-hop, even though he remained intentionally outside the commercial spotlight. His writing style stood apart, quiet, restrained, and intensely layered. Instead of chasing volume or spectacle, he built verses through meticulous construction, shaping lines with the precision of someone who understood that words could cut deeper when delivered softly. His rhyme patterns intertwined subtly, often revealing new meanings on repeated listens, an effect achieved because he would sometimes spend days refining a single sentence. Artists and critics recognized the depth of his craft. Earl Sweatshirt famously called him the best rapper alive currently, not because of mainstream popularity, but because K's work demanded and rewarded close attention. Throughout his discography, he confronted vulnerability with rare honesty. He acknowledged the years he doubted his talent, remembering how being overlooked used to weigh on him. That emotional openness surfaced in lines where he credited those who believed in his potential. "Used to hardly could spell, now I'm held with the poets. That was all you're doing, was filthy. You built me when I was all ruined." Moments like these underscored how his evolution as an artist was rooted not only in discipline, but in gratitude. Ka's broader philosophy shaped how he approached his career. He rejected the assumption that popularity determined artistic value. Instead, he focused on crafting work with intention, even if it meant releasing music that was sparse, slow, or melancholy. Many listeners found his drumless, downcast sound unconventional, or even challenging, but that was deliberate. He viewed restraint as a creative choice, using minimal production to make each word carry the full emotional weight of his experience. This clarity of purpose guided his decision to remain independent. Through Ironworks Records, he handled every step of the process, ensuring that nothing interfered with the integrity of the final product. Critics compared his approach to that of a 3-Michelin star chef, an artist whose work wasn't for everyone, but whose mastery would outlast trend-driven peers. His collaborations reflected this same commitment to substance over spectacle. His long-standing creative relationship with Rock Marciano produced some of his most memorable features, and together, they formed the unofficial duo Metal Clergy. Their shared sensibilities, minimalist production, dense lyricism, and philosophical themes made each collaboration feel intentional and carefully shaped, even as their long-awaited joint album, Peace Be With You, remained unreleased. Kaseem Ryan passed away unexpectedly in New York City on October 12, 2024, at the age of 52.
Hip-hop lovers are mourning the death of rapper Ka. The native Brooklynite, whose real name was Kaseem Ryan, was a retired FDNY captain who captivated fans with his music and writing style.
Though the cause of his death has not been confirmed, his impact is clear.
Saying the rapper, also known as Kaseem Ryan, died unexpectedly on October 12th. He was 52.
He leaves behind 11 self-released albums, culminating with The Thief Next to Jesus, issued just 2 months before his passing. His life represented a rare combination of service and artistry, a 9/11 first responder and FDNY captain, who also produced some of the most thoughtful, introspective rap music of his era. Remembered as the quiet sage of underground rap and New York rap's greatest living treasure, K demonstrated that true legacy isn't built on commercial reach, but on dedication, integrity, and unwavering craft.